The old timers used to drill and chisel this stuff out by hand drill all this stuff. So everything that we do with the oak, this is all done with oak pegs.
So everything that you see in this video is cut on this HM 130 Max sawmill, which is the same one I've got at home. It's an affordable entry-level sawmill. I'm up here today at the Paul Bunyan show, and these guys right here are building a cabin on location. And so I'm going to record some of their building process, and I want to learn about what timber framing is, and maybe you guys might want to learn the same thing. So I'll let you introduce yourself, tell them your YouTube channel, and what we're building out here.
Okay, my name is Dan. We're from Two Guys Timber Framing. And actually what we do is old world construction timber frame. The same way that your forefathers used to do it. So we use our woodland mills. We cut all of our own lumber. We cut everything on site, cut everything that we need, and then we timber frame it together. And there's a couple different ways that you could actually do that.
I think a lot of us, myself included, are really nostalgic about those antique building methods, but I just don't understand how it's done. So I guess your channel's the place to find out.
It is the place to find out. We do all sorts of it.
So what would you call this kind of construction we're doing right now?
Right now, we're building a dovetail cabin. So this is you basically have our wedge dovetails. So when you're actually building your cabin, just from lumber off your sawmill, we do have a jig that we actually use, but the way that this actually works is actually because of the angles right here. As the wood dries, as it gets older, naturally our forefathers didn't cut the trees down and kiln dried it. They used everything wet. So that's what timber framing is really about.
So when this shrinks up, does it get loose or does it get tighter?
It does not. It actually gets tighter. Because of these angles right here, what's going to happen is it's actually going to pull in. And the weight of the building itself is going to force it. See, we can't even pull it out now, and it's not even screwed together.
And you guys have built this whole thing on site today?
This morning we did.
Fantastic. I'm going to record a bunch of your process and we'll layer that in. But so is this a building method that's still used today?
You know, it is. It's actually come back, I want to say, since the COVID times. Everybody wants to get a sawmill, wants to cut lumber, wants to build stuff for themselves. Now, as far as traditional timber framing, which takes a little bit of school, a little bit of learning, it definitely takes some practice. This is something anybody could do.
Yeah, I've watched a little bit of this, and I'm like, they've almost made this process idiot-proof, where someone could learn it real quick.
They did. There used to be a bunch of ways you could do this with plywood. This is idiot-proof. If you just learned the chainsaw, this is the way that you could cut it.
And my next question is, what happens to the spaces? And how do you cover that, or what's the process?
Okay, so we're out here at the show, so this is actually going to get disassembled and then reassembled again. There's a couple of different ways that you can do this. And the old school way would have been you would actually toughen wire and you would actually put a cement coat base through here, so that would finish off your log cabin. Today's newer methods, we actually put a piece of it's a styrofoam filler that's going to actually insulate it, and then we actually use like a synthetic caulking.
And what kind of a siding? I mean, you could put any siding, I guess, on it, right?
There's no siding necessary. This is the exterior of the structure and the interior of the structure.
Fantastic.
So there's no drywall, there's no siding, there's no anything. This will be finished.
Well, it's a great look to it, and then that's a huge cost savings not to. So is that material that goes in between here, is that going to be like a gray, or could be anything?
It would be like a gray. Would be let's say the old school method of when you're actually doing it. It would have been cement color.
So this is one type of building, and you said you're doing traditional timber framing. What's the difference there?
Okay, so traditional timber framing is actually when you join. These are actually timber framed. Unfortunately, it's going to be tough to see, but we can show you when we put the roof together. We're actually using joinery and mortise and tenon. We're actually using old pegs, no nails, no screws. And the strength of it is, I don't want to say, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. And how did you find yourself doing that? Have you always been involved with that?
I've been a builder for 40 years. I grew up with it. My dad is really the one that taught me.
And your channel right now is about you building with these methods.
It is. We're building our homestead.
So there's only so much I can show you in this video, but if you want to learn about timber framing, go to Two Guys Timber Framing.
But right now, we're going to go on and show you kind of the finish of this building and how it comes together. Now today we're showing you an overview of how this process works and some of the toolings and methods that are being used. But I just got an awesome opportunity that over the course of the next 2 weeks, I'm going to attend an event where I will be part of a small group that builds an entire cabin with this method and learn the entire thing hands-on, at which point I'll have a much more detailed video about exactly how this works. Really excited about the prospect of it. And my wife is hoping that I'll build one of these on our property once my other projects I'm in the middle of get wrapped up.
I'm Jared Webb with Dovetail Cabin Tools, and I'm actually a metal worker by trade. And we wanted to build our own cabin, and we were looking at the wooden jig designs that were available and things, and said there's got to be a better way. We put these together, and they've turned out wonderful. It's amazing how fast you can cut these dovetails with them, and it just continues to keep growing. We keep coming up with more sizes and more designs to put out there.
I was already watching it run. It looks like the roller bearings go onto these right here, and
Yep.
they make sure that your chain's never going to hit anywhere.
Yeah, so the bar guides on the chainsaw, you can see here, these actually capture the chainsaw to the jig. So it has a 1/2 inch standoff here, and you literally cannot hit the jig once you're on the rails. And then down here at the bottom, we've got stops built in. So as the saw comes down, you literally have a 1/2 inch gap here, and you cannot hit the bottom of the jig. This is a full dovetail jig. You can buy them as a pack or as a combo, which would be the full dovetail and then the splice jig. And
So what is a splice jig? What's the difference between the two jigs?
so let me grab it. You can see it looks a bit different, and basically it's cutting sort of half of the full dovetail, but it's all the way to one side of the log. So what this allows you to do is cut a notch in the end of a log, and then cut the joining log that's going to come up to it, and it's an identical match for a splice instead of just butting them together.
So if your cabin's 20 foot long, but you don't have a 20-foot log, are you splicing that in the center?
That's correct.
Oh, awesome.
Yep. It's actually going to look sort of like a lazy Z instead of just a butt joint coming together. It's kind of a lazy Z like this, and then just a single timber screw going through it. It's actually a structural joint instead of just a butt joint.
And if somebody's watching this and they want to order one of these, how do they get it?
DovetailCabinTools.com.
All right, so we're back out here on day 2, and the walls are probably at the height they need to be. I don't know if he's doing more layers or if they're ready to put the rafters on it now. And this is beautiful framing for these windows.
How we actually do it is I do cut all this stuff off on my sawmill and things like that. If you follow my channel, I should actually show you step by step. I actually show you step by step how to build these exact rafters, what we did. But old timber frame joinery back in the day was all done with mortise and tenon, pegs, like that. The old timers used to drill and chisel this stuff out by hand drill all this stuff. So everything that we do with the oak, this is all done with oak pegs. And if we look, when we actually put this in here together, you're going to actually see that the holes don't line up because we've offset them. So when we drive the pegs in, it actually tightens up your frame. So if you actually watch right here, when we do it, it should pull all of this in together pretty tight. This is a big peg, Jag.
Can that hole be square? Round peg and square hole.
That's a different channel.
It's way too easy. No glue, no nothing, just friction.
Just friction.
What about types of lumber that work well for this?
You know,
almost
a lot of
anything,
people do it in pine because it's a softer wood. They might have that type of wood. Where I'm at, we do everything out of hardwood, out of oak, out of hickory, poplar, things like that. This is really cedar. And originally, we were going to build this as a sauna, so that's why I did the cedar windows, cedar doors.
Yeah, I love the smell of cedar, and it's beautiful. I just didn't know how restrictive it is
Yeah.
on types. You can use about anything.
You
really.
can pretty much use any type of wood. There's certain types of wood, let's say, are going to twist more, bend more. Pine's going to stay straight. Most guys are going to be able to chisel, you know, softwood harder than, you know, oak's going to give you a little bit of a battle.
Awesome.
But once you actually learn the process, it's more fun than just building with nails.
My wife just told me she wants me to build one like this so she can do a picture venue at it.
That's exactly what this might go back for, is my wife's little art she shed. But these are actually black walnut pegs. Normally we'd use white oak because of the strength of the wood that you want. So even if you're using pine, your pegs are always going to be hardwood. These have to be dried. So everything here is kiln dried. We make these in our shop, run them through our machines.
Oh, you even make those on a lathe?
I do not make on a lathe. I run them through a molding system. So we cut them down into squares. I put it through my machine, and it cuts them round. I mean, we make thousands of these a week. So I have done it on the lathe. Takes a little bit more time, but it's totally doable. You can hear the peg as it's going in. It's changing pitch. I'm probably hitting the.
And how are you going to get these set on? I mean, that's not light, right?
If we don't have enough people, we're going to take that tractor and lift it up there. But yeah, I did make the cabin taller than I probably should have for the show.
Yeah.
That's it. You couldn't separate that if you tried. It's going to be almost impossible for us to get the pins out.
I asked them yesterday how they were going to put the trusses on because I didn't think they could probably lift those even with a group of guys because it's just too high up. And he said they were hoping to use a tractor, but now I guess this crane is going to come over and do it. So they were going to use that crane, but the timing of how long it would take them to get it down here looked like it might not work out. So they've got Adam from Hometown Acres. He's going to use this extendable boom Toro Dingo TXL 2000 to lift that up. They said this will lift 3,400 pounds. Now, when you extend it out, you're going to lose half of that lift. So I'm not going to get to stay for the rest of it, but we've seen the whole process at this point. And the company that makes the jigs for these lives right next to me, honestly. It's like about an hour drive. So I'm actually going to go to a workshop and build one of these cabins in an upcoming video. Should be a lot of fun. I appreciate you taking time to watch this video. I'll put links on the screen to a couple more of our videos, and I'll see you next time.